Alright everyone, there is now a lawsuit being mounted against YouTube. Now people have talked for some months now about suing YouTube, Google, some of the big tech firms over free speech protection. Mostly I would be pessimistic about it working because they're private companies, and people point this out when people say, well, they're a private company and do what they want. Technically, mostly right, not 100%, but mostly. But that's totally different from pragmatism in principle. In principle, this censorship simply is immoral. It's unpatriotic in the sense of a U.S. firm, I would think, as well. These are major platforms for First Amendment usage. They're basically the main place people use their First Amendment rights at this point anyway. Most people don't print up books on a press anymore. Most people don't have a shortwave radio setup. No, you probably do have a YouTube channel, though, and you almost certainly have, like, a Twitter, Facebook, something like that, like 99% of you do. There you go. It's also about pragmatism. Just because a site can abuse its users doesn't mean it's a good fiscal idea to do so. MySpace learned that the hard way long, long ago. Don't think that Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, any of these other firms can't go this way. That's why I speak out against what's happening on YouTube. It's not because I fucking hate YouTube and say, oh, well, they're so evil. You're supposed to don't be evil. No, it's because I like using YouTube, don't want to see it go the way of MySpace, because then it's like, well, I spent all these years on YouTube. Fuck me, I guess. And I realize, like, somebody like me swears, so they get put into restricted mode and demonetized. But I don't monetize, and I don't care if people who are connecting from some school computer can see my content. I don't care. I don't want them seeing my content. They probably won't understand the content half the time. Bullshit, I don't care. But here's the thing, and I'll probably mispronounce the name. It's either PragerU or PragerU, something like that. They're suing YouTube because they're like, hey, we got a bunch of videos, they got put in restricted mode. They're not even close to breaking the TOS. It doesn't make any sense that they'd be in restricted mode. Now, the answer is you've got to understand something. Little people on YouTube often flag content they just don't like as offensive. And so that leads to it generally being put in restricted mode. If it's intelligent at all, whether it's left, right, or center, it's going to get put in restricted mode. If it has a political or social message, it's almost certainly there. Like, most of my videos are in restricted mode. To the degree that, like, it's 18 plus, like you have to click through if you're not signed in and stuff like that. And so there are computers out there, like public computers, they're set to family friendly, like Safe Search equivalent. And so you can't watch most of my videos. You can see the cats and you can see some garden footage, and a few political commentaries somehow slipped through, including a few that like dealt with the Brexit and stuff. I don't understand it 100%. I guess those are videos that people just magically didn't flag. But you got to understand, that's discriminatory in nature, but they're using the argument of, well, it's because we're conservative. You don't have to be conservative. I'm not a conservative, and it happens to me. Most of my videos are not available to view if you're not logged into YouTube and you put the filter on. That happens as well to people on the left. I know if you look at H.A. Goodman's channel, a lot of his content's missing. The real problem is with like the priority user thing, because now there are people who compete directly with all the other users on the site who are exempt from this, and it gives them an unfair advantage. People like the Young Turks. The Blaze is almost certainly, by the way, on there despite being supposedly far right. Fox News. Yeah, Fox News leans to the right. They're certainly protected. It's because they give money to YouTube to be part of the streaming bundle, of course. They don't want to have any problems on their verified channels with spitting out content. Now, you look at the content, almost nobody interacts with it. Like, you go to CNN's channel, they supposedly got, like, we got, like, what is it, 3 million subscribers. They have less views on a lot of their videos than mine do. I've got not even 200,000 subscribers. So their engagement is rock bottom. Nobody gives a shit about them on YouTube. But they want to be protected insofar as they do have the audiences that they have, I suppose. I would be surprised, by the way, if most of those subs were even real on some of those channels. I'd be very surprised. But you gotta understand, just because YouTube is more or less provably abusing large swaths of its user base on monetization, restricted mode, limited state, and so forth, priority users, all sort of, lack of communication in some cases with people who have been, had the screws put to them. Just because that's happening doesn't mean that you have a legal case, because it is a private company. Now, what should be done, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to keep saying it, Declare it a de facto public work. Congress needs to create a new classification for companies like YouTube and Facebook, tech firms, communications related, where enormous numbers of decentralized people form the bulk of the site's worth. They create virtually all of the content. The First and Fourth Amendment should be more or less explicitly extended to these sites in their TOS. TOS on such large sites that have become intrinsic to economic function. Because in order to get a job half the time, you have to have a Facebook account. Oh, what's your Facebook login? We want to make sure that we know, we don't want to see what you're posting, keep tabs on you. If you're going to have that related to employment for many necessary purposes, it needs to be protected by the First and Fourth Amendments. By the way, businesses shouldn't even be able to do that, hence the Fourth Amendment being explicitly extended to them. These sites have become important in an economic sense that goes beyond their worth and the employees that they pay in the local communities getting tax revenue. It goes far beyond that. Selling products. U.S. firms, they want to sell products, whether they're selling them here or overseas. They're taking out ads on these sites. They have a YouTube video showcasing it. Other people make videos about their product. Gaming. Gaming, a big thing, like with Firewatch there and PewDiePie. One of the things that was pointed out is, hey, the fact that people play your game and put footage up is giving you free advertisement, you idiot. Why on earth would you ever want to go after somebody who was playing your game and enjoying it just out of some moral quandary? You can exempt everyone from having to deal with this nonsense if we simply create a de facto public works category that extends the First and Fourth, allows the courts to determine if a person has been discriminated against, and it should be fairly cut and dry. Under the, we've got several hundred years of history to draw on for these cases. We're simply treating them the way we would treat any other communications transaction of sorts that you can think of that would fall under the rights of the press or the rights of free speech, privacy in people's messages, same as the mail or something like that. Get a fucking warrant. Rand Paul's got it right on that one. It wouldn't be that difficult. You don't need to have any legislative legalese, and you certainly, by the way, you don't need the involvement of like a bureau, like an FCC. All you need to do is have any regular investigative body that is empowered to already look into whether someone has been discriminated against, like police, FBI, whatever it happens to be, empowered to do so, and the courts to act upon it. You don't want to create a true public works like some people have suggested. My worry is that the FCC would end up reigning over YouTube, and the government would abuse users 10 times worse than Google ever could. And it probably would. So it should be a new category that strips deliberately any bureaucratic meddling out of the situation, just judicial wrangling, and then only if there's an actual cut and dry, honest to goodness, real public court case involving plaintiffs which are saying, hey, we're being mistreated by some tech firm on a site that has become intrinsic to the U.S. economy as well as other economies. By the way, groups like YouTube and Facebook should love the idea. They no longer have to deal with the moral hand-wringing of ad firms. They don't have to deal with it. They don't have to pay anyone from an NGO to advise them. They don't need to talk to them at all because they'll be hobbled. They won't be able to police that content. They can have real people. No need for an AI. Real people can police the content now because you got so many fewer things to flag for. Marijuana, well, it's legal in many states, so that's no longer against the TOS. Simply being offensive? We can't do anything about it. It's protected by the First Amendment. Did they threaten somebody? No. Are they harassing a specific person unduly? No. Then it's legal. Who cares? So I hope the lawsuit succeeds, but I wouldn't expect. I'd be generally pessimistic. Not 100%. They are a private company, but it's about principle. Taking up the line, well, they're private, they can do what they want. Wrong logic to use. No, it's more like they are intrinsic for human communication. They should know better than to get involved with these situations. It's just a bad idea. It's bad from a business perspective as well. You can look and see people now, they're beginning to build up presences on other sites. Even just with the problems with like notification glitches. There's a reason why I use so many other websites to notify people when I upload content. It's not because I want to sit there and have to fucking spit the same thing out for half an hour. It's not because of that. It's because it's a necessity. Otherwise, half those people never even know I've uploaded anything. That's about all. Peace out.